British Museum, England's attic.
Incroyable. They think their Lumibars can keep me out. Eh bien, they're in for a surprise. It may not be in fashion, but you've got to love the way it diffracts. Now that's what I'd be heisting if it were up to me. C'est la vie. The entire British Museum is mine for the taking, and this is all he wants? Alors, how much could it be worth? They don't even bother to lock it up. But if the boss is right, it will cut Holmes down to size and bring New London to its knees.
Huh? The Musgrave sword! It's been stolen!
What's the haps? Our class is meeting here for a field trip.
Yeah, just dying to absorb some history and culture.
Your class was sent away. The museum's closed. There's been a robbery. Didn't you know?
It's a free period for us then?
Some of us were looking forward to it, okay? Mr. Holmes!
I'd hate to see you deprived of an educational opportunity. Join us.
Absolutely not! This is an investigation, not a field trip.
Now, Lestrade. You don't want to discourage these young persons' thirst for knowledge, do you?
How else are we to become fine, upstanding citizens of this great and...
Knock it off. I'm on to you. Oh, okay. But only as a courtesy to Mr. Holmes.
It's settled then. Come along.
Get a load of these rocks! That's what I'd have stolen. I mean, you know, if I were bad.
What do you make of this, Lestrade?
Nothing. I mean, what should I make of it?
It is a drop of epoxy, a common weather sealant.
By its consistency, I would say it's been 5 to 6 hours since it was melted.
Which sets the time when our culprits removed that skylight.
This room is crisscrossed with invisible lumibars. Interrupt one and the whole security system comes alive. But it didn't.
True. Someone of great intellect went to extreme lengths to overcome that obstacle.
So, what did they take? Diamonds? Gold?
A beat-up, tarnished old sword.
You're joking.
But why?
Elementary. Because someone placed a higher value on that one ancient sword than on any other thing in here.
It doesn't make any sense.
It made perfect sense to the thief. And it will make sense to us once we have all the facts.
I know one fact already. Whoever did this has no taste. Why the Musgrave sword?
Why indeed? An intriguing choice of plunder. You can help me uncover the rationale.
Sure, we'll help. What do you want us to do? Scour the underground for some clues?
Study.
Study? We could go back to class for that.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yes, study. Or research, if you like. Find everything you can about the ancient Musgrave family and their sword. I'm counting on you.
No playing hooky for you after all, eh?
It is very clear. While his partner kept the hovercraft aloft, the perpetrator was lowered, displaced the skylight, and ascended. You see how the dust has been blown away from this area by the ion thrusters of a hovercraft. What do you make of this, Watson?
Polysilicate cloth with a matrix of electro-optic fibers.
That would explain how he got through the lumibars.
Precisely. It would literally bend the beams and not allow contact. Our criminal wore an entire suit of this material.
And it did an effective job of containing his DNA. Not a trace on the scene.
I can think of one place where he didn't have his suit on. Wherever he got the material to make it.
That's using your head, Lestrade. You shall find his DNA trace there.
Mr. Holmes, look what I found. The Musgrave sword itself.
I say!
Very enterprising, Wiggins. But I hope they didn't charge you more than 5 credits for it.
I got it for 3, Mr. Holmes. They have a whole stack of them in the souvenir shop.
Good one.
I fooled Watson anyway.
The cheap Bondo plastic was a sure giveaway. Not at all consistent with 16th century armaments. Still, this souvenir could prove useful. It's not a bad replica.
You can even read writing on it, just like the original.
Forged from the sky, this sword our key, to generations behind and ahead, entombed like us, the abyss at noon led, await its turn where our wealth didst burn.
Zut! We went through all this trouble for a stinking poem?
Not any poem, the Musgrave ritual, recited by generations of Musgraves as they reached adulthood, and each one utterly without a clue to its meaning. But I have deciphered it. I know its power.
Anyone could hold the riddle with a visit to the souvenir shop. There must be another reason why the thief needed the sword itself.
And I know just the place to seek the answer. The ancestral home of the Musgraves.
Much can change over 700 years. The ancestral home of the Musgraves isn't what it used to be.
I remember when they built this tower. 150 stories tall, and underground levels going 50 stories down.
That's right. They were oxyblasting the foundation for months.
The family crest of the Musgraves. Interesting.
A sword, a rock, and a comet? Some coat of arms.
Tennyson says a comet was seen above England in 1649.
Very good, Tennyson. I remember that story. They thought it was a sign of doom because it appeared in the constellation of Apollo, as if he had thrown it at Earth.
Fascinating, but doesn't get us any closer to our crooks, does it?
I hope Lestrade is having more luck tracking down that cloth.
Of course! Nailed ya! Hate to break it to you, Sherlock Holmes, but for once, I got the jump on ya. There's only one place near New London that makes polysilicate cloth, and they just noticed a bolt missing. I'm off to scan for DNA. I'll transmit the address to you.
Congratulations, Lestrade. We'll meet you there.
Admirable police work, Lestrade. I expected no less. Do you see the result of your carelessness?
Zut! I got caught on the skylight. A minuscule scrap of cloth. Why should it matter?
At the museum, your suit masked your DNA. But in an automated factory where humans rarely visit, it won't take long for her to detect your traces. And I would prefer to go about my business secure in my anonymity. I've harnessed the power of the Musgrave sword. Now I shall savor its wrath.
Good. I got all the DNA info I need. If our crook was here, I got him.
Textile factory destroyed.
Lestrade may have been inside. Lestrade, can you hear me?
Inspector! Inspector!
Here! I'm down here!
Lestrade, can you hear me?
Watson! I'm down here!
I'm almost there. All together.
There.
Am I glad to see you, Bunch?
Are you all right?
Actually, yeah, I managed to slip into the bolt of cloth just before the roof came down.
Astounding. The same pattern of cracks on stone and on metal.
It was like an earthquake. I mean, everything just came apart all at once.
But different materials break in unique ways. Stone tends to fracture while metal will bend, then break. But these have all fractionated in the exact same manner.
No wonder, Holmes. They've been decomposed on a molecular level.
Shouldn't we be standing in a pile of dust then?
It would seem the effect lasted a mere millisecond before the material reconstituted itself.
Just long enough to undermine the building's structural integrity.
And bring the place down on my head. But not before I got my DNA scan. Come on, let's get out of here before the fire department arrives.
The power of this sword is but a fraction of that which awaits me once I locate its source.
Seems pretty powerful now, if you ask me.
Powerful but impermanent. Soon I shall possess the power to transform matter at my will.
Oui, the world will be as a lump of clay awaiting your hands to sculpt it.
Get a little of this. Tennyson here is reading a Bloomin' Science Journal. Just for fun.
Good for you, Tennyson.
Indeed. Hip hip.
It's ready.
Matching samples to database. Eliminating service employees. Scanning criminal population. The DNA recovered from the factory belongs to none other than Plotting Fenwick.
Fenwick? Moriarty's henchman. What in the world does he want with that sword?
You may be onto something. It is an article on a recent astronomical discovery. Exactly. Tangible evidence of neutral matter in the cosmos.
Amazing! That's been theorized for centuries, but never proven.
Forged from the sky. This sword, our key. The first line of the Musgrave ritual. And the key to our mystery as well. Come. Remember the Musgrave's coat of arms?
I have a picture of it right here.
The sword, a rock, and a comet.
A comet, Wiggins? Can you think of another possibility? Something more down to earth?
A meteorite? A meteor that came down to Earth.
Forged from the sky, this sword. Do you think they made the sword out of a meteorite?
Right, and not just any meteorite, but one from the constellation of Apollo. Exactly where the neutral matter has been found.
We've got to find that rock before Moriarty does.
Precisely my intention.
Cemeteries give me the creeps, especially at night.
Remember the second line of the ritual.
2 generations behind and ahead. Entombed like us.
Don't tell me. We're going to visit the Musgraves themselves.
The Musgrave family mausoleum. It's been broken open. Recently. Moriarty has preceded us here.
Better leave this to us. You'll be safer here.
Come on, Inspector. If we can handle the old London Underground, we'll be all right under this bone lot.
Don't argue with the Wiggins. She's the law after all. Well, I'd give a hoot now.
Lestrade.
Wait here. Right behind you, Holmes.
Steady, Deke.
Do you know what we're looking for, Holmes?
It is all spelled out in the ritual.
I think we found the generations behind and ahead.
Quite so. Hello, what have we here? The Abyss.
At noon led by your prominent nose. Well played, Mr. Holmes. But you're a step behind.
I see you have the Musgrave sword. I do hope you've been careful with it. I'd hate to return it to the museum damaged.
As you see, I've made some modifications. The power of neutral matter has been harnessed.
Yes, I saw your handiwork on the textile factory.
And that was merely with the minute traces contained in the material of this sword. Imagine what I'll be able to do with the meteor from which it was forged.
We won't let you get away with it, you monster!
Oh, imagine this. Neutral matter is a buffer between matter and antimatter. No longer need the two cancel each other out.
It would suspend the elements in a state between matter and energy.
To be reconstituted however I see fit. Naturally, there is only enough neutromatter in this sword for the briefest of effects, as you can see. You won't find anything interesting. I know. I've been there already.
But we had a way to get back up. No hope for you, Yardies.
Time to collect our cosmic rock.
The abyss at noon led.
I know. Await its turn. Enough with that poem already, Holmes. It's too late.
Watson, can you point out north?
That way. Having an internal compass comes in rather handy from time to time, wouldn't you say?
It does indeed. You see, 12 niches on the wall, like a clock. The poem directs us to noon. Here. Await its turn. Voila!
An inscription. The poem again.
Yes, but there is an extra line.
Take it back.
Take it back? That's it?
Of course. The sword. Take it back. Where our wealth didst burn.
I know where that is.
Grab hold. It's secure. So when we saw Moriarty and Fenwick come out, we thought we'd better investigate.
Yes, it was awfully considerate of them to leave that rope behind.
I don't suppose they thought it would be any use to us.
You see, in the early 16th century, the Musgraves lost a fortune when their original estate burned down.
Bring it back, where our wealth didst burn. A fine deduction. Your research has certainly paid off.
And I know exactly where the old house was.
Unfortunately, the door we seek has not existed for many a year.
What door?
Does the shape of this blade remind you of something?
Oh man, it's a key.
Like the poem says. This sword, our key. It's so obvious now.
The Musgraves believed in the superstitions about the meteor from Apollo, so they locked it in their dungeon to protect mankind.
They weren't far wrong.
Aha! Sounds to me like Moriarty has already found the spot. Come.
You kids, stay here.
But
No. This is one field trip you're sitting out.
She's right. This isn't academic anymore. This is real danger. Sounds to me like Moriarty is venting his frustration.
The fools! The fools!
Stop, Moriarty! It is useless.
The meteorite must be here. I followed every detail.
It's gone, blown to smithereens.
He's right. They blew up half a mile of rock for the foundation. Your meteorite is dust.
No! I'll find it yet! The Musgrave sword! No! No! Not my sword!
I got you at last, Moriarty. You're trapped.
They disappeared.
sorry, Mr. Holmes. They're gone into the underground.
Unfortunate. Only Moriarty would think to pervert this rusty, battered old sword into a weapon of mass devastation.
No telling what corruptions of science he's capable of next.
And we, my friends, must be there to stop him.